Prince Harry has filed another lawsuit against his grandmother's government over his security arrangements in the UK. Just as news drops that it's going to be really hard for general UK citizens to live this year as inflation is going up, the cost of energy is all going up, and Prince Harry is draining £100,000 from the system because he doesn't get a motorcade. Yep. That's it. So welcome to Royal News Network. If you haven't been here before, hello, my name is Brittany and we talk about everything related to royals here. So that's news, gossip, fashion, jewelry, television shows, movies, and history. We do it all right here. So if you want to subscribe, that would be fantastic. And like I said, Harry, oh Harry, how annoying can one man be? I really don't know anymore because the news hit today, and granted it hasn't been reported by the Times of London nor the Telegraph. So, but it has been, I guess, confirmed by the High Court that Harry is suing yet again over this security arrangement. So if you haven't been following this saga, I have 2 other videos I've done about it, which I'll post below. But Prince Harry once met security when he is in London. So this is security that is offered to, the Prime Minister and the royal family and other, particular people within the government. And so this is like high-ranking people, and the royal family comes into part of that. However, the full-time 24-hour security protection is only offered to basically the direct in line. So that is the Queen, Prince Charles and Camilla, Catherine and William and their children. In addition, other royals like Anne or Edward, they also get security, but generally only on like when they're doing official, visits or engagements, because, you do need a bit of security. You don't know who, what crazy person is out there. However, Meghan and Harry, who have been in the UK, Harry's been in the UK 3 times, I think, three times or so since he left. No, 4, sorry. So he has been to the UK. He went to the UK after he left for Brexit. He came back to the UK for his grandfather's funeral. He came back for the unveiling of Diana's statue. He came back, him and Meghan actually did finally come back to visit the Queen at Windsor right before the Invictus Games. And they both recently came back for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, which they skipped out on the vast majority of and kind of ran away like cowards when they were sat in the second row, way far away from the main line of the royal family. So the security saga, though, has continued because Harry and Meghan are upset, in my opinion, because their internationally protected person status has been removed. And they believe that if that is reversed and included, they say they're going to pay for Met security protection. However, Met security officers are not for sale in this particular situation. And they're saying as well, their other argument is that, well, the Met security apparatus has access to all these other, kind of information and data that, most their personal bodyguards would not get access to, like intelligence information and those sorts of things. However, here's the rub. That is true. But if there was a serious risk to the lives of Harry and Meghan and their children, the Met security would extend to them in those situations. And if they came back for something like the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, they would be extended that security as well. However, for Harry and Meghan, that's just not good enough. They want it every time they're in the UK. And Harry is basically kind of trying to force his grandmother and father's hand by kind of forcing them to issue this Met security protection, and if not, he's just going to sue the bejesus out of the government trying to make that happen, which, talk about not winning friends and influencing people. At this point, he's just an annoyance in this situation. So as we understand, obviously, there is a security risk for members of the royal family. Obviously, yes, that is true. However, it kind of depends on how high up in the line of succession you are, how important it is for the government to protect you. And Harry is 6th in line for the throne. So he's not the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, he is 6th, and his children are 7th and 8th. At this point in the modern world, his children and him are irrelevant to the future of the monarchy. That's just how it works. This is the same in Denmark, in the Netherlands, in Sweden. Once you're if you're not in the direct line, like the direct line, it's just, at this point, it's just window dressing. You're just there to kind of smile and wave and hopefully actually do some decent work. And Harry, even though he'll get a small bump when his grandmother dies, a small bump when his father dies, as the Cambridge kids have children, Harry will just get further down the line of succession. And as their kids have kids, he will get even further down the line of succession. That is how this works. And again, it's not just in the UK, it's everywhere. However, I think there's kind of I've always said this before, I think there's somewhat of an underlying motive here to Harry. Harry and Meghan, I think, want that internationally protected person status back. What this means is that any country they're in, that country has to extend security to them. So let's say they're going to the Netherlands for the Invictus Games. Not only would their private security be there, but the Dutch government would also be required or basically have to provide additional augmented security to them as well. When Meghan Markle went to her baby shower in New York City, your American taxpayer dollars helped her do her paparazzi strolls throughout the city. Isn't life grand? My taxpayer dollars hard at work there. So this is something that I think Harry and Meghan want, because I think, I've always said this, I think they're starting to burn through their money because they haven't produced anything. Supposedly the next Netflix thing is coming down the line, but Meghan was supposed to release a Spotify podcast this summer. It's August. Where is it? Nobody knows. I doubt Meghan knows either. And so the question becomes, it's like, why are they demanding this? And I think part of it is because if they get this status back, they can demand security again. And they can demand security from my government, from the UK government, from Australia, from the Netherlands, from Spain, from Canada, like wherever they go, they can demand this level of security. And Harry's part of his reason is, and I haven't addressed this in the video before because I have covered this a couple times, but this really irritates me. He goes, well, I served 2 tours in Afghanistan. Well, bravo, buddy. There's people who probably served 5 or 6 and actually like were engaged in combat. My understanding is basically you kind of played video games the vast majority of the time, not really doing all that much. So this idea that somehow he is a prime target for terrorists, I'm sorry, I just don't buy that. I just really don't. SEAL Team 6, yeah, I would buy that, but they could also probably kill you, and so they don't ask or want security, so, kind of bravo to them. They can actually protect themselves. Harry apparently is so weak and such a huge target that everybody wants to kill him. That is kind of his reasoning, is that everybody wants to kill his family. Now, obviously, Harry and Meghan, and again, this is part of Harry and Meghan's problem, is that they've elevated this victimhood status of racism to such an extent that if they don't get this protection, they're saying that, well, a neo-Nazi can come over and kill us. Now, could that happen? Yeah, of course it could. But honestly, at this point, Harry is so irrelevant, and he's made himself so irrelevant. I mean, why would you care? Like, seriously, like, except for like crazy people, like, what is the point? What is the point of Harry, eliminating Harry and his family from the line of succession? I mean, the monarchy's basically removed them themselves. It was Meghan's 41st birthday today, and while Clarence House and the Cambridges did wish her a happy birthday, the royal family page, as so far as I can tell, has not. So, like, again, how important are they? And of course, Harry always misses a key indicator that, yes, he is 6th in the line of succession, but we could just remove you and just kind of cut out the whole thing and just be done with you and your family. Because at this point, this is a problem the monarchy is running into, which is why I think it's getting more important for them to act. And basically, remove the titles, but not only that, remove Harry and his children from the line of succession, because they're not an asset anymore. They're a liability. And that liability continues to grow and grow and grow. Because it came over on my phone and I saw it and I was like, wow, because I subscribed to The Telegraph as part of this channel. And they were talking about basically how the cost of living is going to be really, really difficult for UK citizens this next year with, kind of the energy crisis due to Russia. We have inflation and they've risen interest rates, and all these sorts of things are just huge burden on the average taxpayer. And what is Harry doing? Harry's filing another lawsuit, which is going to cost the Home Office another $100,000 to fight him against, because he won't let this go. And granted, he says he wants to come back to the UK because, this is his home, but he also said his home is California. So which is it? Do you want to be treated like a royal or like a celebrity? If you're a celebrity, you are bound by the same legalities that they are. That means you don't get Met protection. But if you want to be treated like a royal, then you need to be within the royal family, and then you probably can maybe get that protection back. But at this point, Harry and Meghan are actually contributing to the possibility of them being targeted for something because they become so obnoxious. They become so annoying, such a drain. People are like, I just want to get rid of him, in part because he's costing us money that we don't really have right now. And they're in the middle of an election cycle in the UK. And he's suing kind of the Met, the Home Office, the Scotland Yard. And again, it's over this kind of council that decides who is an internationally protected person. And part of Harry's vendetta on this issue is that Sir Edward Young, who is the Queen's private secretary, Harry hates him. That's just clear. Harry really doesn't like this guy. He doesn't like that he didn't give Harry and Meghan all that they wanted in Brexit, which they were never going to get because they have no leverage, because they are not that important to the future of the monarchy anymore. They're just not. Again, the monarchy, it's a hierarchy. You start off at the top, but you're just going to get lower down as time goes on. Unless you are unless you are William, George, unless you are the first in line, you're just going to get further down the line. And that is how all monarchies work. Your purpose and your connection to the crown just kind of gets weaker and weaker as time goes by. We've seen this in Denmark. So Denmark, they made an official announcement that basically only the crown prince couple, so this is Crown Prince Frederik and his wife Mary, and their firstborn child, Prince Christian, will get any money from the government. So Frederik and Mary had 3 other children: Isabella, Vincent, and Josephine. They're on their own. And it's gotten so bad that Frederik has a younger brother, Joachim, although Joachim for me looks older than Frederik. And Joachim, he has 4 children as well. And so his children, and he has a couple older children because he actually married younger than Frederik did, and he had his kids. And then him and his wife divorced just kind of as Frederik was marrying Mary. And so Joachim has kind of been basically shuffled off to France. So their father, Prince Henrik, was French. And so the family speaks Danish and French and English, obviously. Mary is from Australia. And so they basically shuffled Joachim and his wife, Marie, to France. And basically they're not really doing many royal engagements anymore. They're kind of working for Denmark and France, but like they're not doing much anymore. And this is how all the monarchies are going. They're all streamlining. They're all getting rid of lower ranking family members. Because at this point, if you're not high enough in the line of succession, you just won't have a role. That's just how it works. And Harry at one point I thought kind of understood this, and that he could have built a great role for himself as a second fiddle. Because who gets to go to all the fun royal events throughout Europe and wear tiaras more often than anybody else is Countess Sophie. Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, goes to all the birthday celebrations, all the weddings, just like a bunch of different things where they wear tiaras. So like that would have been probably Harry and Meghan at some point if Catherine and William decided that they didn't really want to do those kind of things, because the Brits are weird about that. All the other European royals, they go to all the weddings and all the birthdays and they dress up and they wear the tiaras, but the Brits, for some reason, they just don't want to do it. Who knows, right? They think they're better than everyone else. That is kind of the truth. I think the Brits kind of, not in a mean way, but kind of like look down on the rest of the European royalty. Let me know if you think that's true or not. That's kind of my personal opinion, because they don't do a lot of the things the other royal families do. The other royal families wear tiaras a lot more. So I wish, the Brits would kind of follow that example. Although that might change once Charles and Camilla become king and queen. I think that might change quite a bit. Part of it is just if Queen Elizabeth doesn't really want to wear a tiara and doesn't want to get out, nobody gets to do it because she's queen, That's just kind of how it works. So Harry and Meghan, they just have become so obnoxious. Like, people just generally don't like them. And this stupid case, the second one, that you even have one is ridiculous. Now you have 2. And all you're doing is reminding people that you left. It was your choice to leave. And you know what? There are consequences to your decision. Apparently, Harry didn't learn that at some point in his life, and neither did Meghan. But again, they're damaging their own public relations, their own kind of claim to maybe reestablish themselves in the monarchy somewhat if they do this, because they become such a drain on the system that it's basically just better for everyone just to cut them loose and say, forget it. You guys are not helpful. You're not helping yourselves. You're not helping us. You're not helping the government. You're helping no one. So why in the world should anybody have any pity on you? Why should we give you all this extra security? Because granted, yes, they are somewhat of a target, but not as high up as Will and Kate. Why would you kill the 6th in line to the throne when you could kill the future king? That's much more dramatic. Duh. And one guy last year, in part, I think because of Harry and Meghan's racist allegations, because part of his, mission against the Queen was, I think, he was influenced by this massacre, I think, in India. And obviously, I think there was racial undertones there. And so that was probably contributed by Harry and Meghan making racist things. So they've made, and after that interview with Oprah aired, everybody's security probably had to get upped because there were threats against the royal family because Meghan made baseless allegations against them and kind of stirred things up. And so it's like, so they want security, yet they don't take any responsibility for actually increasing security costs because they've made everything so difficult by being so just vindictive and nasty. Through this Brexit process, they didn't get their way, and they're whining and they're screaming and they're throwing a tantrum over it. And again, I think they just want the motorcade. At the end of the day, they just want a motorcade. They want the flashing lights, everybody to bow before them, but they left the monarchy. So it's like, again, it's like Harry and Meghan's PR is so bad because they make stupid decisions. Their PR team and them. And this is one of them. Like, it's so easy, but they can't do anything easy. They have to make it as difficult as humanly possible for anybody to like them. But you know what? That's their choice, I guess, if they want to do that. Hey, that's no skin off my back. Although I would prefer it if at this point Charles and the Queen and William just said no. But that may be coming down the pike, because at this point Charles doesn't want anything interfering with his reign, and that's all Harry is doing, is interfering with his reign potentially. And just in other news, because I was actually going to do my video originally on this, because I actually wasn't going to film a video at all today. I was going to work on finishing up my prep work for the final Tom Bower book article, which I will do, which is kind of the last half of the book. That probably will air this weekend and maybe next weekend. I was going to do it this weekend, but I don't think it'll work. I have some things going on, in my personal life, in the real world that, I need to get done. But I think maybe next week we'll do kind of maybe a live stream and kind of a soft launch idea that would give more people time to read the book, because I do want to start a book club, so that may give us more people time to kind of read it, and then we can do kind of maybe a live stream. I can do a live stream about it and answer some questions people have and some of my thoughts. But kind of getting back to Harry and Meghan, one of the thing I was actually going to cover today initially was Meghan's 40 by 40 flop. What happened to that? It's been a year now. Where did it go? Nobody knows. Like, this was supposed to be like her big coming out thing. She got Melissa McCarthy to make fun of the Queen. She got Harry to look like the court jester, which he is now. And, she was trying to sell her book, which never sold. And, but displaying the Hermes, blanket, of course, in the background. But it's like, what happened to this? Because I did go through their website, and it's like, it was talking about, how it's important to spend time with people. Of course, not your own family members. They say family, but, their family apparently is only their 2 children and her mother, even though Harry has, 20 plus kind of sort of immediate family members he could hang out with. But apparently none of those are good enough. And just reading through it, I just think that thing has been a giant flop. Has anybody heard about it? I mean, that was what I was kind of waiting for today, was to hear an update. Do Harry and Meghan have any sort of update for this program? Well, no, because I don't think, again, Harry and Meghan do something very splashy, but there's very little follow through, and I feel like very little effort behind it. Did any of these, did anyone from the 40 by 40, did Princess Eugenie, who signed up to be a mentor, did she actually mentor anyone? Not to mention the fact the mentors that they got were kind of terrible. So, if you're trying to re-enter the workforce like this 45-40 thing was trying to do, why would you hire a woman who's, run for president twice and lost to Trump? In Hillary Clinton? Why would you ask Adele? I think she was one of them. What like the woman who abandoned all her fans right before her Vegas show and, left them thousands of dollars without, any show. They all came to Las Vegas to see her. And then she decided, well, it's not good enough yet, so I can't do it. That was like months ago. And apparently it's close. Her residency is close to getting off the ground is what I've heard. But again, it's just like, well, what could she tell? I mean, she had this woman ran away from her responsibilities. How can she help you re-enter the workforce? So I thought, all the mentors she got were, again, just kind of shallow and flashy, because that's kind of who she is. And they just really probably didn't have anything to offer normal, everyday people. And so again, I just wonder what happened with that. Give me your thoughts. What do you think happened with the 40 by 40? Because I think too, if I remember right, they sent packages to all these different influencers asking them to kind of promote it, and only like a handful did. So And again, and Meghan's PR is worse this year than it was last year. So it's just like, poor thing. Bless her heart. That's what we say in the United States. If you say, you know, something not so nice about somebody, but you say, oh, bless their hearts, you can kind of get away with it. That's kind of a joke that I learned actually in like Wyoming or something. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you soon. And yes, I will have the final Tom Bower book thing done very, very soon, but I just got a lot to do this week. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.